our government has a firm policy not to capitulate to terrorist demands, that no concessions policy remains in force. In spite of the wildly speculative and false stories about arms for hostages and alleged ransom payments, we did not, repeat, did not trade weapons or anything else for hostages. Nor will we.
The ballad of the bullet, some freedom or some bullshit. Will we ever do it big or just keep settling for little shit? We brag on having bread, but none of us are bakers. We all talk having greens, but none of us own acres. If none of us own acres and none of us grow wheat, then who will feed our people when our people need to eat? So it seems our people starve from lack of understanding, cause all we seem to give them is some ballin' and some dancing and some talking about our car and imaginary mansions. We should be indicted for bullshit we inciting, telling children death and pretending it's exciting. We are advertisements for agony and pain. We exploit the youth, we tell them to join the gang. We tell them dope stories, introduce them to the game. Just like Oliver North introduced us to cocaine in the 80s when them bricks came on military plane.
A few months ago, I told the American people I did not trade arms for hostages. My heart and my best intentions still tell me that's true, but the facts and the evidence tell me it is not.
The end of the Reagan era. I'm like Lemma 12, old enough to understand the shit had changed forever. They declared the war on drugs like a war on terror, but what it really did was let the police terrorize whoever. But mostly black boys, but they would call us niggas and lay us on our belly while they fingers on their triggers. They boots was on our head, they dogs was on our crotches, and they would beat us up if we had diamonds on our watches. And they would take our drugs and monies as they pick our pockets. I guess that's the privilege of policing for some profit. But thanks to Reaganomics, prison turned to profits, cause free labor's the cornerstone of U.S. economics. Cause slavery was abolished unless you are in prison. You think I ambush it and then read the 13th Amendment? Involuntary servitude and slavery it prohibits. That's why they giving drug offenders time in double digits. Ronald Reagan was an actor, not at all a factor, just an employee of the country's real masters. Just like the Bushes, Clinton and Obama, just another talking head telling lies on teleprompters. If you don't believe the theory, then argue with this logic. Why did Reagan and Obama both go after Gaddafi? We invaded sovereign soil, going after oil. Taking countries is a hobby paid for by the oil lobby. Same as in Iraq and Afghanistan. And Ahmadinejad say they coming for Iran. They only love the rich and how they load the poor. If I say any more, they might be at my door. Who the fuck is that? Staring in my window, doing that surveillance on Mr. Michael Render. I'm dropping off the grid before they pump the lead. I leave you with 4 words, I'm glad Reagan dead.
Wilson, Reagan. Wilson, Reagan. 6, Wilson, 6, Reagan. 6. 6, Wilson, 6, Reagan. 6, 6, 6.
And we're live. How's that for dropping some fucking knowledge in your head? That's some deep shit right there. That's Killer Mike. It's called Reagan. That's an underground track. That's kind of hard to find. But he talks some real shit right there. Check it out. So, if you're still with me, this is number 2. This is part 2. The sequel is like The Godfather Part 2. You know, they only get better as they go on. Except after 3 of The Godfather, they start getting pretty shitty. But they're only going to get better as they go on, for me. Again, live from the ATL, Roddy Radloff. This is the Rowdo studio. I got the pup sleeping next to me. I got a cold beer in my hand. Got some things we're about to talk about tonight. some things that are on my mind that I just have to get off my chest because this is the podcast, and you know what's up. If you're listening, you know what's up. What I wanted to say, though, on a serious note, anybody that, any positive feedback or anything, from a lot of people, that's why I'm doing this again. I've had nothing but good people, good things from everybody saying, great job, you sound awesome, you did awesome, we really like it, we're really digging it, I think you did a great job, all that stuff, man, that means so much to me, so keep telling me that, and I want negative too, though, I haven't heard anything really that too negative, so either you fucking are not saying nothing, and you're keeping it to yourself, or, there's not much negative to say, which I doubt. I'm sure there's negative things, and, I want to correct on them, so if you have something to say that's negative, feel free, man. Hit my Facebook up, text me, tell me, what am I doing wrong? What sounds like shit? What don't you like? What do you like? But for the most part, a lot of the feedback's been positive, and I appreciate that, And, I got my buddy Hamer on it now. He's going to be pumping out his podcast, And as much as me and Hamer are alike, and we have a lot of similarities, we're very different, The whole hunting thing and living off the land and shit, I don't know nothing about that, I agree with him that a lot of the shit that you're buying in the grocery store and stuff is not good for you, and a lot of things that, we've been eating and consuming forever, it's not good for you. And I agree with him on that part, but as much as the hunting and the living off the land and living off the, this animal and that animal, and that's not my forte. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But there's certain things that you probably get from him that I have no understanding in, and there's certain things you're going to get from me that he has no understanding in, technology and computers and things like that. That's, that's my forte. That's something I understand and I get. And Hamer has no clue. He wouldn't know how to do a podcast if I wouldn't have helped him out. But he's trucking along, man, and he's got big aspirations that he wants to do. So I'm excited for him. I'm excited for myself to see what we go with this and what we can do, because I got big ideas too, and I want to see this turn into something. And like I said, I'm glad all the things I've heard so far are really good, and I appreciate it, because I just kind of turned on a microphone and went at it, and what I've heard from everyone is good stuff. So, like I said, I appreciate the props. Keep them coming. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and if you want to talk, there's always a chat on here. You can chat with me if you got the Spreaker app. You can chat with me live while we're chatting or while we're talking, or you can send me a text or email, or there's plenty of ways to communicate with me, especially when we're live. But let's get into the show. I'm glad that you're with me. If you're listening live, tonight is, right now we are January 10th, Friday. It's about 12:10 a.m. So let's get into the show. I said there's some things I want to talk about tonight, and I really want to get them out there and just kind of, it's not even rant, I guess. It's what I believe and what I think, and it doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's how I feel. But first is the big, key point that I kind of want to hit with this one was Obamacare. And, I think, no matter who you are, you're 100% for it or you're 100% against it. I don't really see too many people that are in the middle. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are some people that are in the middle that you can't really decide. But I think it's either you're all for it or you're all against it. And I it's just, with my new job, I just started. I won't say where, I won't talk about where I'm at, but I just started working in a pharmacy. So this is something that I really wanted to touch on. I really wanted people to understand where I'm coming from, because I see it from I'm not the inside, but I'm the inside, and I kind of have to deal with it every day. The insurance companies right now, so here's the deal for Obamacare, right? You sign up with your company, because if you work for a company, every employee for that company has to have insurance by March 1st. That's the deal, right? You sign up through your company. You have three options. You sign up through your company. You get insurance on the side, through private insurance, and get it for yourself, and so that you have it. Or this isn't 100%, but this is what I've heard. You're charged a $95 tax fee at the end of the year on your taxes for not having insurance, which is not bad. That's logically how I'm thinking. That's not bad. I'll take $95 for the year not having insurance. If you're going to charge me, whatever, I'll pay $95. That's fine. I don't give a shit. I'll pay you your fucking $100. Suck my ass. You're offering, and this is my problem. Is, when this first all came about, and, back when the Clintons, they talked about universal health care, I was all for it, If it's universal health care like the Canadians have, or like Amsterdam, and, British is even working on it, I was misinformed. I sat there and I told people, universal health care, that's the best thing we could have. We need that. We should have that a long time ago. It's bullshit. Well, the universal health care that they're bringing to us isn't exactly what some of the other countries have. And that's where my problem lies, is you're forcing something onto someone and you're making them pay out of pocket for it. When I told everyone, I stuck up for it and said, hey, this is a great idea. This is a great idea. I didn't realize. I thought, it would be taxed for it. It would be taken out of your taxes. It'd just be another tax. It's just taken out of your paychecks. And everyone's going to have universal health care. It's balanced across the board. But then I remembered that we live in the United States, and they can't do it like that. And I actually started reading about it and researching. I didn't do my homework. And I did my homework, and I started finding out about it. And I realized that, what they're doing is just not, it's not right. You're forcing something on someone and you're making everyone pay for it. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to pay for the one that's offered through their company, and they're going to have to pay out of pocket for it. And that's not fair, and that's bullshit. And I don't agree with that. I can't agree with that. And but I was one of those people that sat there, this is the best thing that's going to happen. This is what we need. And I was totally wrong. And I sit there now and I say, I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have said that. And I thought Obamacare was where it was at. And I was wrong. And I see it now every day working in the pharmacy and dealing with this shit. And, I have to deal with it one-on-one and see what's going on. It makes me opposed to it almost, because I don't think, there's no way that everyone's going to be able to afford it. Just how it is, there's no way that we can all afford it. It's just, that's not feasible, especially people that are on welfare and low income and poverty. You can't. There's no way that everyone's going to be able to afford health insurance. So your goal to have everyone on it. Unless you're, I'm, again, I don't exactly have all the homework on that. So maybe people on welfare or something are going to be offered it very cheap, or, I'm sure they probably will. And I don't think that's right either. For someone like myself that works their ass off, works my 45, 50 hours a week, busting my ass, taking care of everything that I need to take care of, and I can't barely afford health insurance. why is someone that sits on their ass all day and collects welfare, why do they get it cheaper than I do? How does that make sense? How is that even fair? You know, it doesn't, and it's not okay. And that's kind of what it's got me. You know, I don't want to say I'm against it because I want everyone to have health care, but the Obamacare so far is sucking fat nuts, and I'm against that. But like I said, you know, and in getting into working in a pharmacy and dealing with people every day and dealing with insurance companies and seeing how things are starting to work, you know, I mean, it's corrupt. It's a fucked up system. And, you know, I mean, these are the things that I deal with daily. I mean, this is just an insider viewpoint that you can understand why I see it like I do. Okay. Here's some of the things that I deal with. Okay. You know, what I see with the Obamacare is, you know, people, they're going to get, you know, shitty doctors because certain insurance only covers certain doctors. So therefore, you know, you have to go get this insurance because it's cheaper for your family and it's perfect for your family. But your doctor doesn't take them. That's what's going to start happening. They don't accept it. They say, no, you know, we don't take Humana here. Sorry. You know, we only take Medicare here. Or we only take Blue Cross here. So, unless you have Blue Cross, you can't come to your family doctor anymore. You have to go down the street to Kaboo Kapoo office and get pills from him. And so you're going to have, you know, people that have been using these practices forever, and pretty soon their insurance are going to say, no, we don't cover that. And so that makes them change. That's their lifelong doctor. That's who they've used their whole life. And they want to have their kids use them too, and they can't because now you're forcing insurance on someone, and their doctor doesn't, or their insurance company doesn't cover that doctor. How crazy is that? That don't even make sense. You know? I mean, that's fucking insane. I mean, that's just some of the stuff. You know, some of the other things I see, like, we get, you know, someone would come in and, you know, I mean, certain medications they need, and certain people don't need medications. You know, they get them filled because they get them prescribed, and they just go and fill them, and that's what they do. There's certain people that need stuff. They have to have it. They have to take it every day. Every day they got to pop a pill. And sometimes 2 or 3 times a day they got to pop that exact same pill, you know, lower their blood pressure, migraines, you know, chemotherapy treatment and stuff like that. They have to have that stuff. They have to have it pumped through their system. If they don't, they die, you know, or get really sick. And before, you know, your insurance they cover, you know, you come in and you get 3 months supply and, you know, 90 days worth of pills, and you go home, and they cover it, and you pay your copay, and you go home. Well, now, the insurance company, especially now, after January 1st, they are only covering 30 days at a time. So, something you used to come in and get 90 days, you can only get 30. So, I mean, is it that big of a deal? You just have to come back every 30 days. If you don't come back every 30 days, you don't get it filled, you know? And I just, you know, people flip out about that. They're like, oh, well, I would always get a 90-day. I'd always get a 180-day supply. Well, now, your insurance only covers 30 days at a time. Your insurance only covers 15 days at a time. Or we get like, you have to have 30 pills for a month, but your insurance will only cover 15 of them. So you have to pop 2 a day for 30 days, and you're only getting 15. They're only going to cover half. So the other half's on you. Even though you need them, you need all of them for the whole month, but we're only going to cover half. The insurance is only going to cover half. Do you pay the other rest out of pocket? How does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. And, you know, and that's what I have to sit there and tell people all day. That's the hardest part is I'm sorry, you know, they always have covered, these people tell me, they've always covered it, though. It's always been okay. It's always been $20. Well, today it's $120. Why? I can't tell you. Your insurance, this is your insurance kicking in, and that's what you owe. It's not our fault. There's nothing I can do. But it's sad, and it seems like it's getting worse and worse. I mean, I haven't worked there long. I can't say that, 2 months is not long. But that is just insane. It's so weird, and it's so, and these people are putting good money into these insurance companies, and it's not covering shit for them, really, It's their deductibles. I mean, things about deductibles. If you think about that shit, they pay at the beginning of the year. So when the first of the year comes, their deductible resets. And all these people, that's what we're dealing with right now. All these people come in. Well, why is this $300? This is, usually, your deductible reset. The first of the year, your deductible reset. So what does that mean? Well, that means that it's reset. Now you have a big number that you have to hit. They're only going to take a little chunk off until you hit that number. Once they hit that number, that's 6,000, 7,000, 10,000, 15,000. Once you hit that big number, then they'll kick in and you only owe $5 for each of your prescriptions. But until you hit that, you're paying almost for the whole drug out of pocket. So you're paying $300 a prescription, $150 a prescription for 30 pills. At the end of the year, though, once you hit your deductible, it's like, go and get it as fast as you can. You better hit it. You better get as many pills and prescriptions as you can before the end of the year hits. Because once that end of the year hits, everything resets. And you're back in the fucking hole. And they call it the donut hole. Or you go, you hit your deductible and you're okay for a while. But right at the end, you go over. They call that the donut hole. And you still got to pay out. So you go over. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it's not fair. And it's just, I deal with it all day. Upset people and I feel bad for them, Some of these people, I had a guy come in, He tells me, he looks me in my eyes, and his insurance company, and he says, he looks at me and he just says, I go to get his medication or whatever for him, and his insurance company's denying it. They won't pay for it. And he said, I don't understand how this could be. I mean, I had cancer. I found I had cancer 2 years ago, and I'm getting, chemotherapy. And that's keeps me from having nausea, and it keeps me, from having headaches and stuff. This is my medication I take. How can they tell me that I don't need it? That's what helps me. And all I can sit there and look at him in the eyes and say, I'm sorry, sir. That's terrible. That's a terrible fucking story, but there's nothing I can do. I can't help you. I agree with you. Probably should have the medication. But it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter what I think. Because the government and the insurance companies make the rules. And it's some bullshit rules, There's also things, one more thing to touch on. Some things that we deal with, they're called like flex cards. They're like pre-fund cards. And what you do is the same, almost kind of like deductibles. Except you load your own money onto them. And it's for your medicine, any things you need from the store, as in like medications or bandages or whatever, it's just for like Health Mart stuff, You put that money on there and you load it and then you can use it. And it's through your insurance company. And I think they, give a percentage or whatever, help you out, but it's mostly your money for the most part. They might match like 5% or something, but for the most part, it's all your money. Well, at the end of the year, if you don't use all that money on there, they take it. It's not like it rolls over. They take it. How does that fucking work? How can they take your fucking money? Why would that not carry on to the next year so you can use it? I mean, it's your money. Yeah, they may match a little percentage. That's your insurance company. You're already paying your insurance company to be your insurance. That's to ensure that you don't have to fucking pay everything on your own. That's not right. And it just goes back to the Obamacare. Supposedly we're fixing our health care is what this is supposed to do. And realistically, from my point of view and what I see, is it's making it a fucking mess. It's making it way more of a fucking mess than it's ever been. You know, it's not even, we're not even close, man. It's chaos. Like, how do you say you're going to fix something and then make it worse than it ever has been? I don't get that. And I don't think I ever fucking will get that. It's just, it makes me sad, though. It makes my heart hurt to see some of these people brought to tears when I tell them the price of their medication, or to tell them that, you can't get that. Your insurance says no way. They won't do it. They're only going to give you this, And there's some people that fucking abuse the system. And no matter what you're fucking working in, you're going to have the people that abuse the system. We all know them. We all see them. We know what they're about. You see him, you're like, that motherfucker is looking for the Oxycontin. He walks in, he's scratching it. Never filled here before. Fucking, and you read it all over his face. We're all going to deal with people like that, That's part of life. But then you have the people that really need the help, and it's not there, and the government's not helping them, and there's nothing you can do. You can't help them. You go home at night and you have to pray for those people. Say, I hope, and doing what I'm doing now compared to, when I was being a chef and running a kitchen, I'm seeing real life problems now. And it's waking me up a little bit, Like I said, it makes my heart hurt. It makes me sad that things are like that. And I really wish that they weren't. But this Obamacare is a mess. And like I said, I stuck up for it for so long and said this was going to be the best thing for our country. And I was totally wrong. And I admit it now. And I'm a fool now, But, enough on that. Enough on the negative sadness. I'm not trying to make someone cry or bullshit, But, I'm just stating facts, and that's something that really bothers me. And I had to speak about on the podcast. I had to take a sip of my beer, because that Bud Light tastes delicious. One of the other things, pretty much my whole thing tonight is, I guess not all of it, but for the most part is the man, the insurance companies and shit, the man sticking his finger, Obamacare, sticking his finger in that hole, in that wound, and kind of twisting it around a little bit. What I want to talk about next is the legalization of pot. And it's not even legalization, but decriminalization of recreational use in Denver. And that's huge. That is massive right now. Because I've said, me and my friends, I don't remember for how many years, we sat in a smoky-ass basement smoking blunts and saying, someday it's going to be legal. Someday I'm going to be able to smoke a bong wherever I want to. I'm going to be able to, I'm going to go to the store and buy it like I'd buy cigarettes. And, I thought for the longest time that, that would, I'd always said, I was like, it's going to happen in my lifetime. But I didn't really think that. I didn't really truly believe it. And now we're seeing it, It's slowly, I bet in the next 15 years, it's going to be legal through the United States. And that's awesome. That's what I've always wanted. That's like one of my dreams, was to have, pot legal everywhere. Because there's nothing wrong with it, man. It's, over alcohol and cigarettes, you want to say out of all those three, what's the lesser evil? That's marijuana. You may, affect your brain. That's what people makes you dumber. Well, guess what? alcohol ruins your liver and your insides. Cigarettes ruin your throat and your lungs, and that may slow down your thinking. I'd rather coat my neurons and make my brain a little slower than have irreversible damage in my insides and organs, which the other two do. And alcohol, it goes into you drinking and driving, and there's so many things that come from alcohol. I love to drink. I'm not going against it. I'm just saying, if you want to talk about the lesser evil and which demon is the least potent, you go with marijuana, and that's a fact. Everybody knows that, and if you're an adult, you fucking know that shit. You've been here long enough. If you've experimented and you've tested it out, you didn't listen to exactly what fucking the government said. If you go back and you trace it back to the laws on pot and marijuana, it's all bullshit. It's all scientists saying this and that, and I've heard interesting things about hemp. Hemp was back in the day. Hemp was becoming, which is the plant that marijuana. Hemp is the bark and everything that comes from marijuana. Hemp was used for everything. Hemp was rope. Hemp was paper. They were making. Hemp was used for so many different kinds of things, and that was huge. And that was starting to be the new wave of things. And again, this isn't 100% fact, so I can't say. I'm not going to sit here and tell you something's 100% fact when it's not, and I'm not positive on it. But supposedly, hemp was blowing up, and hemp was the new big thing, and the DuPonts came along, and they had a big in manufacturing, their hand and their thumb in the manufacturing and everything, and nylon. That's about when they discovered nylon rope, and they made nylon, and supposedly they paid and put money in against, in propaganda and shit to slander hemp and marijuana and make it illegal. And paid the government, which, realistically, if you live in the same country I live in, that's not that big of a stretch. They paid money in to get people to slander on marijuana and on the hemp plant and say, it's bad and there's nothing good that comes out of it, and it's addictive, and it's a class, for the longest time it was one of the top class drugs with heroin and all that, and you look at it now and you're like, come on, like, don't bullshit me. But this is what people believe, and this is for the longest time. They didn't even have scientists study the shit. They didn't even have them research or nothing. They just went on what was said, and which was made up. So you look at it now, and it's people are starting to wake up. And if anything should be legal, marijuana should be legal. I think that's amazing. That's awesome. I think it's about time that shit's legal. But that gets me to my next point. The man still wins, no matter what. Yeah, it's legal in Denver. It's decriminalized, right? So you can go to the store, which on the first day of it being legalized for recreational use, they made over $5 million in Denver alone. $5 million in Denver alone. That's a lot of fucking money in one city. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Think about that. But like I said, the man still wins. Because you know why they made $5 million? Because of something that you would go to the store and you would pay $25. You go to your Joe Schmo down the street, or I go to Hamer's house, and I say, hey, give me an eighth for $25. You're going to the store, and that same thing that you paid $25 for, the government taxes that. They put their money in it. Of course they're going to tax the shit out of it, and we would expect that for it to be legal. It's a price you got to pay. Same thing with alcohol. Alcohol's been around for so long that it's common that you're paying less. So that same thing that you're paying $25 for, now when you go to the store and the government has their hands on it, you're paying $75 for it. That's where it gets crazy. And that's why I say the man still wins. The man still fucking wins because he's taking what you want. He's giving you what you want, but he's taxing the shit out of it. And I think that goes right back to the last point that I was talking about, the pharmaceuticals and Obamacare. That's the man. The man has his fingers in that. It's pharmaceuticals. He ain't going to give you something for nothing. It's not like the Dire Straits song. Something for nothing and the chicks for free. That's not how it rolls. It doesn't go like that. So I say it's still, it's I don't know, it's crazy to me that like I said, they give us what we want, but yet it's not what we want because they're going to tax the shit out of it. I mean, what do you expect if you're going to buy it legal? But then that's the thing. If you're going to, you got to somewhere meet in the middle because if you just charge outrageous prices, you ain't going to kill the black market completely because if someone can get a bag of weed cheaper, then why the fuck are they going to go to the store and buy it for $100 for a quarter? $100 for an eighth when they can go down the street and get it for $35. And so you're not eradicating the black market like I think they want to do. So it's kind of stupid. But what I was reading is they saying, that's a statistic that they thinking, which, I mean, if they're making over $5 million in one day, it doesn't really make sense. But they say, like, they will make over $600 million in wholesale by the end of the year. That's just wholesale. That's what the companies are going to pay to bring that in. That's not what their companies are going to make off the people they're selling it to. That's just $600 million in wholesale. That's crazy. And they're saying over $70 million in tax revenue from just marijuana, just in Colorado alone. And that's pretty nuts. But it goes back to, like I said, they give us what we want, but they can't give us enough. They can only give us a little bit, and they still got to take back. That's how it rolls. And it'll always be that way. It's never going to change. And you also got to remember that the feds still at any time can overrule. At any time, if the federal government wants to go in, which it's cool in a way because it's like the state saying, fuck you. State's saying, this is what the state wants, so fuck you. And that's how the government or our country was made. America was made on that. The states should govern themselves. Federal government's just for everything else. But the states govern themselves and they make their own rules. And if all the people in the states say, hey, we want to smoke pot and pot should be legal, then it should be legal. But like in California, they tried to do that, and the government went in and shut it all down and said, no way, no way, no way. But it's still the same thing. If the federal government at any time wants to go in and say, fuck all you motherfuckers, they can. So in a way, it's the state saying, fuck you, but California tried that, and they shut it down. So we'll see how far it goes, And I hope it stretches, and, my home state, Ohio, is talking about legalizing recreational, and Michigan's legalized recreational, and I think Michigan's voting pretty soon for recreational. I think that in the next year or so, they're going to vote on that. So, I have a feeling northern states are going to be first to go. Georgia, the ATL is not the same down here as it is anywhere else, and which I don't agree with, You get busted with a little bit of weed down here, you spend 2 days in jail. It's like getting a DUI. That's not fair. That's the stupidest thing ever. But a Bible Belt, totally different than anywhere else in America. And where you live, you got to play by those rules. You know what the laws are. You should. You got to play by the rules. And it sucks, but that's just kind of how it goes. Like I said, no matter what, we get what we want, but we really don't. The man always wins, just like in pharmaceuticals, too. Something we think would be so great for everyone to have health care, realistically, the man still wins. Man, it's still, you have to pay another bill to the man. I mean, that's what it boils down to. And like I said, I'm going to sit here and talk slander, and people will say, you're all against the government. I'm not. I'm just a realist. I'm speaking reality. If you don't agree, fuck you. Don't listen. Because I'm speaking the truth. And it is what it is. On a side note, this morning, I was in bed. I was getting up. And happened to trying to get out of bed, and my dog jumped up on my bed, and he stepped right on my nutsack, right on my nut, on my left nut. And I thought the thing exploded. I really thought the thing exploded. Like, he stepped down on my nutsack, and I mean, it was like getting tapped, like a nut tapper times 500. Like someone hit you 50 times in a row in your nuts. And I really thought my ball imploded, or it exploded to nothing. Like, he stepped right on it. I mean, my dog weighs about 80 pounds. It was the worst feeling in the world. But I realized a little bit ago my nut's still together. It's still in one piece, so I'm okay. Just thought I would share that with somebody, because it was absolutely terrible. Be careful. Be careful with your pets. Stepped right on my boxers, about blew my nut out. Another thing, I've been smoke-free for about 4.5 days. About 5 days now. It's not easy. Trying to quit cigarettes, not easy. Hardest thing I've ever done. Quitting drugs was easier than quitting smoking cigarettes. And that's a fact. I would not lie about that. I've quit drugs, multiple different drugs, and smoking cigarettes is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. But hey, man, I'm going to keep on trucking and do everything I can not to smoke. Drinking these beers right now makes me want to smoke. That's like a trigger to me, because I'd always drink and smoke. Now I got to learn how to drink and not smoke. It's not easy. Chill out, puppy. What was the last thing that I wanted to speak about before I end this little shindig charade that we have called the RowdCast? I wanted to talk about Rodman, Dennis Rodman, and his coach in basketball in North Korea. That is just, I don't know if you've been paying attention to shit, but that is just wacky. For one, we know Dennis Rodman's wacky motherfucker. He always has been. And yeah, dude, I understand when you played for the Bulls, you were like the 5th or 6th best player that they had on the team. So you were still pretty legit. They had a good team. But this motherfucking crazy-ass crackhead, from wearing, some of the hairstyles he had, wearing a wedding dress to his wedding, and, the dude, I don't think he knows what he's getting himself into. I just seen today, I was already going to talk about this, but when I was kind of researching a little bit before I came on the air, I looked him up, and they said he just got in trouble because people were pressuring him to tell the North Korean government to release a U.S. prisoner they had. That because he was there, he should, a family was pressuring him, telling him he needs to speak out and then tell him that they need to release this guy. And he made some comments when he was drunk and got himself in some trouble. And he was apologizing to everyone that he shouldn't have been speaking political stuff when he was drunk. Motherfucker, you shouldn't be speaking politically anyway. You're Dennis fucking Rodman. You have no say in nothing, no political, nothing. You shouldn't be in North Korea coaching basketball, bro. Do you know what they do in North Korea? Do you know, like, Kim Jong-un, or is it, I can't even say it. I think it's South Park. Kim Jong-un, do you know what he's been doing lately? Man, he took his uncle that helped him get into power. The motherfucker helped him rise to power and make sure that he took over after his dad went away and do what he needed to do and has aided him the whole time. He just took that same uncle and him and a few of his uncle's little right-hand men and shit. There's like 4 or 5 of them. He took a pack of dogs and he starved them for a week, and he stripped his uncle and all his little dudes butt naked, and he threw them into a fucking fenced-in thing, and he let the fucking dogs eat him alive with his little cabinet, his little people, and while him and all the army, a bunch of the army members and shit, sat around and watched, ate him alive, ate the shit out of him, ate him every fucking bits and pieces of him, man. That's what he just did. And you want to fucking go over there and coach fucking basketball for him. And they said Dennis Rodman sang Kim Jong-un his fucking happy birthday. He sung him the happy birthday song on his birthday from Dennis Rodman to get in good graces. Motherfucker, you better get the fuck out of there. You can get yourself in some hot water and you ain't leaving, brother. This is a different country, you know? Just as George Carlin said, you go around another man's country, man, fucking toting around, acting like fucking John Wayne, you better be ready for some action, Jack. Because he's going to get you, dude. And you ain't going to be coming back. You can get fed to some fucking dogs, dude, and they're going to eat you alive. And then you're really fucked. You know, it's just, Dennis Rodman's a fucking nut job, dude. What the fuck are you doing, dude? I understand you can't play you can't play in the NBA anymore, and you ain't on that caliber, but motherfucker, go coach a rec league or something. Get in as a high school program or something, dude. Do something. Don't go to fucking North Korea, dude. You're a nut job. And when I just seen that today, you got yourself in some hot water, bro. They're going to kill you if you keep fucking around. They'll kill you. Because that motherfucker ain't playing, dude. He's like Hitler Jr., you know? I mean, everybody would say his dad was worse, but realistically, man, that motherfucker's nuts, dude. And yeah, the shit will hit the fan. When the shit hits the fan, you better get the fuck out of the way. Because they don't give a shit who you are. Dennis Rodman don't mean shit to you, to them. You know, just because they're watching NBA games from fucking 15 years ago, and that's relevant now, it doesn't mean that you're fucking a celebrity or a star over there. I don't know what you're thinking. But that shit is just wacky, man. Like I said, it's a wacky, wacky world. You know, you think you hear it all, and you hear something like that, and you're like, dude, this guy is a fucking nut job, man. He wants to eradicate them all. South Korea, if it was up to him, dude, he'd take out all of South Korea. If it's up to him, he's going to take out everyone. But if you're taking, for one, if you're taking somebody, and now, someone you don't agree with, whatever, someone, in your country you don't agree with, you take them out, you assassinate them, you shoot them in the head. All right, cool. Even if it's family, okay, they did something you didn't like, you didn't agree with, take them out, you kill them, you dispose of them, you hang them, whatever, even cut their head off, whatever. It's fucked up. I see it happening. When you take your fucking uncle that helped you rise to power and you strip him butt naked and feed him to a bunch of hungry dogs in front of everyone to watch, that they said that some of the guys were puking because the shit was so gruesome, and you're doing shit like that, why the fuck are you going to coach there, man? You got issues. You belong there. And I hope they're going to kill you. Probably. You ain't going to be leaving. They're going to whip you with bamboo. And they're going to feed you to a bunch of fucking dogs. And probably fucking rabid panda bears. And you're dead, man. I don't even know if pandas are in fucking North Korea. I just made that up. That was not real. That's probably more China, Japan. Okay. I'll take that back. What I'm saying is, the guy's a fucking idiot. Kim Jong-un is a fucking idiot. And Dennis Rodman's a fucking idiot. So it's a match made in heaven. And if they kill Dennis Rodman, they kill Dennis Rodman. I'm sorry. Too fucking bad. You go, like I said, in the words of George Carlin, you go toting around in the other man's country, acting like a cowboy. You better be ready for some action, Jack. You might just get your fucking head cut off. That's the truth. Because it's not a game. You know, in the U.S. you get away with a lot. In other countries, they don't fucking play, man. You know, I mean, see, in the U.S. the difference is they just listen to us and hear everything we have, and then eventually they come in nighttime and swoop in and take you out. These other countries, they listen to you, and as soon as you say something wrong, they come out and fucking bop you and throw you in a van and fucking chop your head off and take you away. That's the difference between us and other countries. Us, we're more secret about it. The other countries, they don't give a fuck. They do not give a fuck. They will do it in front of everyone. And that's just how it is. They don't give a shit. I hate to say it, I mean, that's how it is, but it is. You know, real is real, and that's the world we're living in. Well, I kind of hit on the main points that I wanted to, hit on tonight. Like I said, I don't know if they're important to you. Don't know if you care. I don't care if you care. I don't do this for you. I do this for me. You know, I like to speak and get it out there, and eventually, like I said, I want to get some guests on here and get some people to talk with and bullshit with, and people that agree with me and people that don't agree with me, and they want to fight and debate with me, because that's what it's about. But I just like to speak my mind, and now with Facebook and with the podcast and everything, it's so easy to get yourself out there and have people hear what you want to say. And I hope maybe when I speak and tell you some things, maybe you do learn some things from me. Maybe I can learn some things from you, and that's why I hope for more feedback. More good, more bad. Tell me what you like and what you don't like. That's what I want to know. I want that feedback, so I know if I'm on point or if I'm missing the mark by a fucking 100 feet. The game plan for this thing is do about 3 or 4 podcasts a week is the plan. And I did one last night. I did one tonight. Usually won't probably do them back to back like this. I'll probably space them out a little more. I just did because, like I said, I had such good feedback and I had some things that I wanted to talk about on my mind, and kind of want to build a little bit of a library. But yeah, I think realistically shoot for about 3 a week, and if you could catch them. If you can catch them all, then good. I'd like you to be here for everyone. But just like Shane said in his little promo thing I saw, I'm glad that he gives me props and stuff. But I'm not doing this for him. But I did this because I wanted to do this. I did this because I feel like I have things to say that a lot of people are going to say, this dude's crazy. Or this dude says some amazing shit, man. I love listening to this guy. Rowdy's a man. Rowdy's a fucking man. But I do it for me. Like I said, I don't, if you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. I do it for me. I'm going to sit here in the Rowdo studios. I'm going to drink my beer. And I'm going to broadcast myself out there. And I hope that you enjoy what I say and something resonates and something clicks a light bulb on. And, if you got something that you want to hear me talk about or something you disagree with or something, like I said, send me a message, man. You can message me on here. Text me. It's 678-209-6564. You can email me, Rowdy mmafan@live.com. Send me a message, and like I said, something you don't agree with, something you like, let me know. I take constructive criticism. I cooked for 10 years, so I know how to do that. I want to know, but like I said, I really appreciate all the people that responded and said stuff, all the positive things that I heard, and that makes me feel good, and that makes me want to continue to do this. And I mean, in almost 24 hours, I almost had 200 plays, and that's pretty huge for, what it is, just me bullshitting and ranting. I mean, almost 200 plays is pretty crazy. So, somebody's listening, and I appreciate it, and I respect all you guys, and I respect your opinions and your viewpoints, and, like I said, I really don't give a fuck if you like it or not, but I'm going to keep doing it, and I just want to hear, feedback. So, have a great night. As always, the pleasure's all mine. I'm going to drink the rest of this beer and probably call it a night. So, probably look at another podcast around Saturday, which would be the 11th. And, like I said, stay tuned. It's only going to get better. We're only going up from here. Have a great night.